All right, y'all. We back at it. Back at it. It's been a minute, but we back with the another MMA pod. It's
Yes,
your boy
sir.
BG. We got Darius and G Money. So we got again a cap, a reserve, and a player. And we got a lot to discuss. It's been a lot going on since the last episode. You know, we got some really big news today. Uh really big news. Going forward, and it's really going to affect season two. But apparently, Kyle was able to come back on his Aaron Rodgers tip early from the torn Achilles, ruptured Achilles. So, we kind of want to get into that. Discussing that. What are y'all thoughts? Like, just with Kyle coming back, and just in general, like, what you think of that? Like, that's big
You know,
news.
Kyle, he put the grind in to get back to where he is now. He had a long rehab, put in the work. He's gonna be big. I haven't seen Kyle play on 2K yet. Obviously, nobody really got to see him too much, but he's gonna be a big addition. His name will possibly be thrown into the free agency pool, so he's gonna be a big addition to somebody. I would imagine JP. That was one of his first two picks, and he never really got to get to play with his guy that he picked. So I would imagine he might want to bring him back and see what's going on, see what they could cook up because. I don't think this season obviously is going the way that JP wished that it had went. So it's going to be a big addition. We'll see what happens. Kyle maybe might have been able to watch some of the other players play this season, and maybe he want to take his talent somewhere else. And it's going to be interesting to see you know what JP does.
Let me just
Yeah.
remind the audience, though, let's not forget Kyle was his second pick. So technically, P got a player option on him, right? So Tyler is only subbing in for this season, and then he gets put back into that reserve pool. So technically, JP has that team option on Kyle.
Mm,
He could keep him. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be real interesting. I don't know how Kyle gonna be feeling about that, seeing how the team's been playing. And then you have Oz being a franchise player. I don't know if this is going to change his mind and make him want to stay to run it back for another season. Saying he got his guy with him now, so it's a lot of moves that could potentially happen based off him coming back. So it's going to be definitely interesting upcoming season.
Yeah, yeah. And the big thing was Kyle and Austin wanted to play together for a little while now. And this was supposed to be the season it was finally going to happen. Of course, the the Achilles happened, and yeah, he was able to get a different prognosis. So there's a couple of things that go along with that because now basically Kyle has to start from scratch. You gotta not just, and it's not even just like grinding to get the different like Mamba mentality and so forth. It's also I don't know if he even has access to his previous account to even see what his build was before. So unless he took pictures, he gotta like remake a build fresh. Well, he's gonna have to remake a build fresh anyway. But does he remember the build specifically? Like, and plus 2K has patched the game like 10 different times already. So
yeah.
whatever he might have made, it might be obsolete at this point. So, and Kyle is one of the guys that like when I got questions about making builds, I'm always going to him. So I know Kyle's gonna, he'll be in the lab with the build maker and stuff like that. So he'll be fine there. It's just how is he gonna my question is like, how's he going to go about grinding for a VC now? Because we know what he was doing, he can't do no more.
His captain
It's
gonna have to throw some bread his way. Forget
yeah, I mean, hey
forget
man,
injury
that's
facts.
yeah, that's that star player treatment, So yeah, and we haven't it's been yet to be determined how long the off season is actually going to be. So he will have some time to grind a player, but we don't know because I know there's word on the street that some of us in the front office were pushing for like a 2 week layover in the off season. So it could be longer, it could be shorter. We're not sure just yet. Um, so he got to get to grinding. But Kyle's a 2K guy. He gonna be okay. It's just gonna. The question is how dominant can he be in a short window, possibly. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
because you figure missing the season too. Even if he is picked up on the team option, he missed the opportunity to gain some chemistry with possible players that might be brought back on his team. So you know, he's gonna have to take advantage of the summer league, you know, runs in the off season to try to maybe get some chemistry because he hasn't been on 2K at all, even in rec or five. So
Being that
he's gonna have
Rico Hahn.
to build the chemistry up. He gotta work on
Uh,
his player on his build, but also, you know, you gotta start trying to run with some of the guys in our league to try to build some chemistry.
yeah, yeah. And we don't know, like George mentioned too, we don't know how much Kyle has actually been paying attention to the games because it'd be hard to for me if I was not able to have access to the game, I don't know how checked in I would be to following league games of the stuff that I was trying to
Based off,
participate in.
based off combo from certain the chats and stuff, it seemed like he was done. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, boy. So I don't know
yeah,
if he'd been tuning in because he would have been even more irritated. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not I'm not gonna be surprised if he wasn't keeping up with what was going on.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us. I want to kind of take that segue to the next topic that we had here. So, kind of, we were talking about free agency a little bit, and we mentioned that JP. So it's going to be discussed by the front office, but it appears that JP will have the ability, should he so choose, to keep Kyle, like George mentioned, because Kyle was his second pick, his second overall pick. So, we going into free agency now, right? So is there anybody that y'all see, big movers, like big moves? I mean, we only got, 25 guys that are rostered, 20 guys that can be moved because, four cap or five captains can't be moved, of course. So out of those guys, is there anybody that you guys think, could be moved? Or could not even be moved, but could say a Riva Dirce to their team and try to find, greener pastures. Um,
Well,
I
you
actually
know, go
go
ahead,
ahead,
brother.
Darius. No, go ahead, bro.
I was going to bring up actually what we talked about off the air, you know, a couple of weeks ago, just with the type of personality and the franchise player that Austin is. You know, he likes to have power, and he likes
Hmm.
to kind of, you know, see where he can hold his leverage at. So that was a conversation that you touched on, BJ. I'll let you actually jump into that, but that was one of the big free agents that we thought might make a move, just to see, you know, even if he just played the field and see what he can get from out of other teams and see who he can recruit if he goes to another team. But Austin is definitely one of those guys who he likes to make a big splash in free agency and on the court. So I can see him moving, really. But
Wow.
as you mentioned,
Wow.
with Kyle coming back and them never having the opportunity to play with each other, now that Kyle is back on the table, you know, will we see Austin stay?
Hmm. So what Darius is mentioning, so again, for those that may not know, first off, franchise players being whichever every team's first player that they picked became their franchise player. So there were five. It was Austin. Uh, second was I want to say Ace. Third was Tay. Fourth was Robbie, and the fifth was Steven. We'll get to Steve in a minute, but so essentially there were five franchise players, and what that meant was not only did each of those players have access to another build, but they also had the option to either say I'm out or say I'm staying with the team. So they have the player option. So they hold the cards in their hand. And what Darius is mentioning is what I was saying, we were talking about it was I think Austin is like he's kind of like a borderline GM at heart. And I believe Austin is going to opt out in free agency and test the waters because pretty much Austin could go to any team. Like any captain he goes to and says, "Hey, I want to rock with you," they're pretty much going to move, for lack of a better term, they're moving heaven and earth to bring him in. Because I can't see a team telling Austin, "Nah, we're good on you." Like I don't see it. So when we were talking about it, I think Austin is going to opt out, and I actually think, and I don't want to get into the tampering side. I don't even know if we really have a rule on tampering, but I'm not trying to put these ideas in anybody's head, but I just have this feeling that Ace is gonna opt out as well. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Ace might opt out. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't return and sign with the bad boys, but I feel like he's opting out. And it's just this feeling I had.
You know, it's an interesting point to that. My sources tell me, you know, I know a lot of sources around the league, my sources tell me that there's one thing we got to remember is that Ace is boys with Tay. You know, Tay I think Tay might have originally gave the invite as far as bringing Ace into the league. So, you know, they played 2K before this league, like years before this. And I can see them being boys wanting to maybe team up on somebody's team just to, you know, get that run that they want to, you know, play with each other. And they both have the franchise player option. So it'll be also interesting to see what type of conversation go behind the scenes with that. Just trying to see, you know, duos get together who have the power to make it happen.
I mean, they might not be able to. You just brought up the point. They're both franchise players. And again, how is that point system going to work? So franchise player, like technically, Austin and Kyle both are 7 points player, but not one of them. Only one is a franchise player. And you can't have franchise players on the same team.
So remember, I'm not. Well, did we talk about this actually? We agreed on the worst team possibly getting the 2 point.
Not all of us agreed on it, but you know, but
no, it wasn't all right. It wasn't voted on. We'll talk about that off here.
Yeah, no, it was voted on. It was
it was voted on. So
yeah, so
you know, Ace is on Bad Boys. If Bad Boys just so happen to not make it into the playoffs, Sad would have those extra points that, you know, he could possibly sign 2 7-point players and just, you know, take somebody on the back end.
And here's the thing, right? And here's a little breakdown on it. So franchise players, what the idea was when we started this league was, you know, we didn't want super teams. So we didn't want like let's say Aus, Yote, Tyler, and Tay or Ace all ended up on one team and making a super team, because that wouldn't be fun for the league. We've all experienced it in a couple of seasons already. It just wasn't enjoyable. So we were trying to keep it balanced. So originally the idea was no one team should have 2 franchise players. But with that trade that went down, you know, the JP and James trade, JP was able to get essentially 2 franchise players, really. I mean, as far as value wise, you know, if Kyle lived up to where he was drafted at the number 2 pick, then essentially JP would have had 2 franchise players. So once that happened, it was like, okay, that kind of opened the floodgates for other teams to be able to do so. So what I mean by that is now when we get to free agency, there's nothing technically stopping another captain from signing 2 7-point players. The thing about it is the salary cap is 20 points. What Darius was mentioning was that the worst team, whoever basically misses the playoffs, is going to get 2 extra points heading into free agency. And he can sign any team can sign 2 7-point players, and then they have enough points left over to sign 2 3-point players, which is 2 guys that were drafted in the 4th round. So it is possible for any team to sign. So, you know, Ace and Tay could end up on a team together if that was what they wanted to try to do. It's possible. And if they go to, again, that team that ends up being missing the playoffs or being the worst team, there's also a possibility that not only that the 2 of them end up playing together, but that they also play with 2 guys that were taken. I believe the math adds up to 2 guys being taken in the 3rd round. So it could be two first rounders, 2 third rounders. And that, you know, from my perspective, that was why I felt that rule was unbalanced, but it got voted on. So, you know, it is what it is. We're going to see how the offseason goes. G, I did want to ask you. So, speaking of the offseason, right? You know, we know that your team lost a player. You lost Steve, who was you guys' franchise player. Now, if I'm going to speak 100% honest, he didn't play up to that franchise player level at all. You, to me, have been your team's best player. And I know you about to play like the humble, you know.
I ain't no humble nothing. I'll speak on it. I like even coming into the draft, the hype was brought on by other people. Chris, Robbie, and some other people like hyped up Steve to be a franchise player. Steve is a very good player, but franchise, no. And when I see a franchise player, I see somebody who plays multiple position, who could just affect the games in more than one way. Steve was a great scorer, and he played good defense. That was about it. He only played on 1 or 2 builds. Like
Hmm.
franchise player, look, for example, I'm gonna give Austin another shout out. He could run point, he could run the shooting guard, he could run power forward, he could run center. Kyle could do the same thing. I could play on multiple builds. Chris plays on 3 to 4 builds. Those are players who I think are like franchise players, not just good at one thing, but can affect the game from multiple different positions. And Steve didn't meet that criteria. Now, coming into the draft, he was hyped up to that. And then going into the season, again, he didn't live up to that expectation. So that I just think it was just a built up because he played very well doing little pre-draft workouts and all that stuff. Like he was scoring the ball. So that was probably all that led up to that hype. Like you know how it is in college ball. Doing a little match Martin is somebody performed mad good and then now they're a top 10 lottery projected player. When doing the whole season, they ain't perform to that, but now doing a little run, they bumps them up. So him leaving, it hurts because we was like legit like 3 games to the postseason. And that
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
everything. And it wasn't like he left because anybody was harping on him or anything crazy. It's just he just got tired of the game and decided to peace out on it. So
yeah.
so it
Now,
is.
do you think I'm gonna ask you, speaking honestly, you think if you guys had like I'll say a winning record, because I think at the time you guys were below 500 at the time. Because right now you guys are what, 6-5 or are you 5-6?
I think it's 5 and 6.
Okay, so you're one game below 500. So you guys won like two in a row or something like that, I believe. So or you won, you might, I don't, whatever it was, like you guys have gotten closer to 500. And at the time when he left, like that was, we all watched, that was probably one of the better games of the season so far. Went into overtime. It was clutch shots hit on both sides. Like I mean, literally like a three with point 0.3 seconds left, and then somebody else come down and hit a three or driving, get a driving dunk or something like that. So it was a very good game, but you came out on the losing side, and you think that like had you guys won that game, you think Steve stays, or you think that it didn't really matter?
To be honest, I don't have a definitive answer for that, but I'm leaning more on the side like he was gonna leave. Like I've played with is this my second time playing with him? No. But we've ran fives. Like Steve is not like a positive guy, yo. Like, he'll be playing like, oh, we about to get smacked. Like, come on, bro. We like you feel me? You gotta amp up Steve, get him in that like hype type situation. So I don't think he just from the jump, I don't think he was feeling this 2K at all. Winning, losing, I just don't think he was feeling it. So it may have happened regardless, but the timing was just a little crazy. If you would have done it like 3 games in where we could pick up somebody else and then build some chemistry playing games, I felt like it
Hmm.
would have been better for the team. But you gotta adjust on the fly anyways. It is what it is. I feel him. He
Yeah.
ain't want to be getting angry over no video game, getting stressed. So you can't be mad at him for that though.
Yeah, yeah. I would be a little tight if that was my teammate though. It's simply because like you left us at this time. If it was like you said, maybe a little bit earlier on, it's a little bit easier to deal with. But going into playoffs, and you guys are so not just going into the playoffs, but you guys, I believe, and I could be wrong. You may have a chance. Now you have one game left. You win tonight, and it's against the team that's in second right now, which is the Hogs. So if you guys beat them, you guys have a chance to finish in second, I believe, because you would
How
have
many
won
games do
the
they have left?
say that again.
How many games do they have left?
So they have you guys and they have one other game, and I don't remember if it's against the Pirates or the Bad Boys, because I know they played us 3 times already. So whoever it is, you guys basically, if you win tonight against them, or you guys are playing the Hogs, right? Correct?
Yeah, Arsenal. Yep.
Okay, so you guys win your game tonight. And then if they lose their other game, whoever their other game is, you guys bump up from I think like third or fourth to second. And I mean, granted, so what happens is and not trying to be cocky, but I guess everybody's trying to avoid the fourth seed, so they don't have to play my team in the first round. Um, and I'm really not trying to be cocky when I say that, but like nobody, any sport, nobody wants to play the first seed if they don't have to right away. You know what I mean? So that's it. This is like these are some really big games. So if you guys win tonight, you could possibly be looking at second. I know Bad Boys and Pirates, they have pretty much, and this is really the game of the night, really, because the winner of their game almost guarantees themselves a spot in the playoffs. They still need a little bit of outside assistance, but the winner of that one really kind of determines their own fate. So I believe the Bad Boys have 7 losses right now. The Pirates have 6, but they've played like 2 less games than the Bad Boys. So that head-to-head game would be if the let's say the Bad Boys win tonight, that becomes the Pirates' 7th loss, and then the Bad Boys would hold the tiebreaker. So as long as the Bad Boys win one more game, and even if the Pirates win another game, the Bad Boys will be in and so forth. So it's some
Mhm.
really, really big games tonight. As a matter of fact, I says, we're not on either of those teams. Who do you got winning tonight? Bad Boys versus Pirates. Darius, who you got?
I think I got Bad Boys winning. I think I like the way that Ace been playing, and Chris he been playing. They got a nice little duo going on. Sad has been playing better defense as of late. So I think Bad Boys. I got them winning. Plus, I just got unbiased votes towards Pirates right now. So hopefully they take that out. I'm gonna just
Speak
throw it
on
out
it,
there.
man. So I mean, Ace need to be a scorer. He got to be aggressive. Like
Thank you.
only
Thank
time
you.
I've seen Ace aggressive was the very first time we ran against him. Outside of that, bro, he has not been aggressive. I get it, like you trying to get people involved and beat up, but if niggas know, pardon my French, if people know you're not gonna score, you're not trying to score the ball, bro, they play you different. So when the opportunity's there, he gotta put that ball up, bro. He got to.
Yeah, we seen it before. I feel like that the game that they played against Brandon, your team, when Chris
Hmm.
hit that overtime 3-pointer, you can hear if you watch their stream, like Ace was definitely trying to play that PG role and get everybody involved and like read the floor. But it was times where he was like, everybody just spread out, me and Chris gonna work, and either Chris
Yep.
got it or I'm gonna take it. So that's
Yep.
really like George said, that's what they gotta do. It's gonna get to a point, especially going into the playoffs, that you gotta run the offense through your guys. You
Yep.
sometimes you get your guys maybe some looks early just in case, if the shot is there, you want them to be comfortable and ready to take it. But, playoffs and especially for Bad Boys and Pirates and do or die situations where you got to pretty much, win out just to be safe, you got to run through your 2 main guys.
Yep. And for those that might have missed it in the main chat on Discord, I kind of semi called Ace out. I wasn't trying to start anything, but I told him. I think said asked the question like, "What is it? What do you guys see that our team needs to do differently to get some dubs?" And I said specifically, Ace, you gotta score. You gotta show us you can score because we see you posting them, 50-point box scores from rec games and stuff like that. We need to see that in the league. Like we gotta. I don't know, and this is a challenge to him, however you want to take it, but I don't know that he can do it in the league because he hasn't done it yet. He had a nice game, a very nice game against us. I think he had like 23 points. He shot like maybe, if I remember correctly, like 8 for 12 or something like that. He kept his turnovers down, so he played very well when he was being aggressive. And if we being honest, that's what that team needs because to me, said playing great defense has been good and everything. And Phil has been a very good third option, like a very good third option. I think he was getting like 18 or 16 points and stuff like that. But to me, kind of forcing Phil or said or in Takens, aka Elijah, to like have to be a high volume scorer is not the option, not the way to get the dubs, in my opinion. I think you need, like you guys mentioned, you need Chris and Ace to lead in scoring, and then let the other guys kind of get their shots where they fall. You know what I mean? So um, I think Ace, and we said this, like Ace taking 5 shots in a game is a no-no. You can't have that from a franchise player especially in playoff implications type games, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Hey, and then
So
Uh,
speaking
that's
on the
the
Pirates, he, last night, if James played how he was playing, bro, he's gonna make it tough for the Bad Boys.
oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it
Thing
was
is,
cooking.
too, though,
He was cooking.
what I
yeah.
gotta point out, he was playing off ball. He wasn't the prime. It's like he wasn't the only primary ball handler. Most of the times, I was running the point guard position, and he was playing a
Mm,
2 guard. So I don't know
mm,
how that affect the dynamic because on his team, he's primary ball handler. So I don't know if he's gonna have to delegate some of that responsibility to Robbie, let Robbie like cook up and make some passes, which is against his nature. Or let Ryan get that third like ball, like he. But if James plays how he was playing last night, bro, that's gonna be a tough, tough game for Bad Boys.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I mean, to your point, I don't know. Like you just mentioned, as far as Robbie being the facilitator, I don't know if that is what you want. Um, the game that James and them won against Ball Hogs, James he gave you 18 points, 11 assists. So I think you want to keep the ball in James' hand. Just try to let Robbie, be good at what Robbie is good at, which is scoring. But as long as James, like you said, do what he do and just be aggressive and kind of force people, especially when he had a couple he was getting to the basket last night. When you try to force a defense to collapse on you, you swing it out to your guys. Robbie got to hit shots. That
Mhm.
kind of like brought me into what I was going to bring up earlier, as far as duos that you want to see step up for the playoffs. And Robbie and James is one of those duos that, like we were just talking about with Ace and Chris, which is the big man guard duo. I kind of want to we got to see James and Robbie be that backcourt duo, because you got to again go through your guys. So we already know Robbie gonna take shots, but as you just said, James, got to stay aggressive on the offensive end.
Big facts, big facts. It kind of brings me to something I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on too. So as we're pretty much wrapping up the season, I think almost all the games will be played tonight. Like these will be the last games of the season. There might be one game left, which will be, I believe, the Bad Boys versus the Hogs, and I'm not sure what day they're going to play that. In the Caps chat they were still trying to get that scheduled, but basically all the other games will be done tonight. And even depending on how things go, that last game may not even matter because somebody might have already locked in their playoff spot. But that being said, just with the games that have been played so far, um, what teams do you guys kind of have as like the overachievers that based on draft day and think how the draft went, you had them, they're doing better than you thought, and then also who've been the underachievers, like who have kind of done worse than you thought they were going to do. Um,
Uh,
and George, you go ahead.
my overachiever is the Hawks. I mean, given what happened with Kyle, given they had to pick up a new player, and then given not knowing how he's playing now, but like preview to that, I thought he was gonna be like a lot better. He's been holding up his own, man. I'm giving a shout out to the big man on their team. So
Division.
being in second place is like that shows like they put in some effort this season to be in second place. And then I think the underachiever got to be my team, man. I came in with high expectation. I thought it was going to be either the best or like second best in the league, but things just haven't been fluid. And most of the games we've lost, it's not like we were getting blown out by people. It's like sometimes we're making mistakes being ourselves. We're not shooting shots, or like it's just little things here and there. So I'll have to throw my team out there too. But then I also have to give a mention to the Pirates.
Mhm.
Like looking at
Mm,
just the names on that roster, you like there will be a whole lot better. You got James, you got Robbie, you got Ryan, you have Lou, and then you have Hunter, who is not a back to the basket center, but he plays defense and he hits shots. So you would think with that squad that they would be like top two as well. So it's either us or them as far as underachiever for the season.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I got the same sentiments. Pirates, I thought, like you said, James, Robbie, and Ryan, and even Lou, guys who, well, Hunter too, like guys who they play, rec with each other. It seems like, a lot of times outside of the league, I would have thought they would have had a better chemistry that would have correlated to some wins. So they are definitely my underachievers, overachievers. Same thing that G said, with Austin being able to, pretty much carry the team right now, and with division stepping up. But I didn't know how that was going to work again with just Austin's personality. We already know Austin's a great player, but sometimes if the game not going too
he
right,
mutes.
yeah, he got the tendency to somewhat check out. So I thought that was going to be like a running theme throughout the season, to the point that Austin was. you never really see Austin give up as far as like quitting the league like Steve did, but I thought they definitely was gonna be struggling. So and
Mm.
it's nice to see Austin, coming to the defense of his guys. So they definitely are the overachievers. Brandon, I thought your team was going to be one of the top teams anyway. So you don't get no real credit.
That's
you was
sorry.
you was you was
That's
you was
like
you was
far as
ske-
like
you was
every
scheming
thought
from the combine. I
word.
already knew you was gonna have a nice little setup.
Hey, bro, I do the GM thing.
Mm,
But for me, yeah, overachievers definitely. I think it's the Hogs. And as much as the other day we was in the main chat, and I kind of, had little words to say to Austin. I say he's not my GOAT because I'm never gonna say as long as I'm competing, I'm not calling another man that I'm competing with the GOAT. But I will say Austin is doing something that I did not think he would be able to do. He's gotten some production out of that entire team, not just like, we all mentioned division. He's gotten production out of JP and even Miami Boy, who guys, that people were like kind of wrote them off. So, and I'm not saying that Austin is the sole reason for their production, but he's what it has been really, really impressive to me. A lot of us would have struggled with a build that had a 33 speed. Like we wouldn't have been able to find a good use for somebody having a build with 35 speed.
mm,
Austin has not just found a way to help Division, you know, uh, like hit his potential or whatever you want to call it, but excel at it. Like Division has been a top player in our league since pretty much the start. And then he even improved, like made they came up with offense that they could use to keep everybody involved, not just focusing on getting Division the ball, but they're literally like they hitting using screens off the ball. JP's getting the ball in cuts and just having it run to the basket and hit square or get to his open spot where he's got that lethal shooting. I think in the corner spot. And we all know Tyler can shoot. And then even like against us, Miami boy hit three threes. So like they've been really impressive to me. My underachievers is actually the bad boys. Based on a couple of things. Like for number one, the way they have played against us, they've always played us tough. We played them twice, and both games have come down to the wire. So when I look at them, I'm like, what are they doing against these other teams? Where like I think they're 0-3 against the Crusade. Are they 0-3 against you guys, George? Did you guys sweep them?
It might be 2-1 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So they're 2-1 against you guys. I think they're 0-3 against the Hogs. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like this team, they got Ace, they got Chris, they got Phil. They're like mind-boggling to me. Like, why are they struggling with, to get these dubs? So that was, I don't know. I'm expecting though, and this we're filming this pod before the games tonight, which are like pretty much the final games. I actually got the Pirates, I want to say I think the Pirates are going to be the ones that miss the playoffs, and I got the Bad Boys making the playoffs. Um, I think they're going to win.
I,
Say you cut out, G.
I think the Pirates gonna make it, bro. I got a feeling.
Okay,
I got a
okay.
feeling,
I mean,
bro.
hey, bro,
I
I
hope I
don't
hope
care either way.
And
I hope
mind
Bad
you,
Boys do get in.
sources says there's been internal struggles within the Pirates. So if they pull this off, they make the playoffs with all that yapping and everything going on within the locker room.
I hope
Gotta
I actually I hope for the sake of some good 2K to watch, I hope Bad Boys do get in. And I got a feeling that if they do get in, like I really do think they gonna turn up. I think last like I said, last stream I watched with like Ace said and Chris, just like hearing the communication, I think they know what they gotta do. I think they're ready to like really just turn up if they get to the playoffs. But that's gonna be a good matchup for the sake of, like I said, a good 2K, to see Bad Boys go up against the number one seed, the big man matchup. So I hope they do get in.
And there's something interesting too. So I mean, it's not a secret. So tonight, Lion is going to be reserving for the Bad Boys, which is a game changer
St.
depending
Louis.
on. That's what I was gonna say, depending on whose spot he's filling. And I believe it's gonna be in Takens is missing the game.
Mm.
So that's gonna kind of shift.
That's why they won against us that last game, bro.
Yeah,
It's cause of line, bro. He came in, he
yeah.
was the scorer on 18, bro. hit some clutch buckets. I'm hitting shots. That man right there with me. I'm like, come on, bro. He
Was
should
you nervous?
like that's why they won, bro.
Was you nervous or something?
I was hitting my shots, bro.
I don't know.
I hit the
The look
shots.
on
I
that
put us
face.
up one. The man came back down. He hit a shot. They go up. I'm like, bro, why is he's not supposed to be on the team? Like, come on, they got love, bro. Like, if it was the regular dude on that team, it was over with. It would have been close.
Yo, he called him the regular dude.
It would have been
You
close.
disrespectful, bro.
Who was missing? Who was missing? Was it
It was in Takens. So, and that's the and
apologies untaken? But
yeah, nah, bro. Ain't no
I'm
apologies
just
at this
saying,
point. And
bro.
Takens, and I've said this, and Takens hasn't given anything to the bad boys so far this season. And we like 10 games, or they 10 games in at this point. So I can safely say he has not given them anything. And I hope he can figure it out. I don't know if it's the build, I don't know if it's the latency in Pro-Am as opposed to rec. Because I've seen him light it up in rec, but he can't do it in Pro-Am, at least in league games. So hope the young fella gets it
A
together
person
and
who
helps the
needs the
team.
ball in his hand. Is that part of the
I,
reason? Do you think
I
he
don't
needs
think
the ball in his hand more?
no, no, he's a shooter. Like when at least when I ran with him in rec during the combine, he was on like Tyler's level shooting. It was like, yo, if they don't get a hand up, that's a bucket. Literally. He was pulling from hash, he was doing whatever, and it was pretty much catch and shoot. I don't know because I remember Austin when he was on the pod, he kind of mentioned that from what he saw in Taken's needs to like do stuff off the dribble, but to me he was catch and shoot and he was lethal with it when we were in combine.
And they
But
got to work
y'all,
on him, telling him some floppy actions, down strings, like get him some looks. If he could shoot, at least give him a couple of looks every now and then. Run a play for him, like yo, set a down string, let him pop up, flare up to the. You feel like
yeah,
you just gotta
and
try to put him in action.
yeah, and the other thing, and I'm gonna have to get ready to sign off here. My team's gonna run a practice real quick because we got our game tonight. But I do kind of just want to briefly touch on just what are you guys' thoughts? And these are not like we haven't like got together with the captains to discuss this, but what are you guys' thoughts on like the awards right now? Who you guys got for runner for MVP, DPOI, OPOI, and Rookie of the Year?
I don't even know with me right now, but I guess MVP. I'll go off.
Yeah, I hate to keep throwing Austin name out there, but just what we talked about as far as what he doing with the team right now, I probably would have Austin the MVP. I would have to look at the numbers as far as like the second and third place runner ups. Yeah, I gotta look at the numbers. For DPO,
defensive player, I have you / your team.
My team, bro, our defense is tough, bro. I don't. I'm just like the anchor, but everybody holds their own on my team. I love it. I got for my MVP, I'm gonna go ahead and say I got myself, or I got Renzo. Best team in the league. Head to head up against us. 2-1, and I think held him to single digits in 2 of those games. So I got either like I said, myself or Renzo. And since I usually don't pat myself on the back. So if I have a vote, I'm voting Renzo for MVP. DPOI, I do have myself in the mix. And again, I agree with like my team. Like I feel like you could take like Renzo. I feel like Will, who doesn't get a lot of love, but has been a huge, huge, huge piece of our defense, like our defensive success.
Y'all call him Dennis Rodman. Y'all got that running joke. He definitely seems like the glue guy.
Yeah. Yeah. My Rookie of the Year, I think it's only it's 3 rookies. It's Leak, Renzo, and Ace, and in Takens. Is there anybody else that's like completely brand new? I don't think so. But I got Renzo. Because if obviously if I'm gonna have that man in the MVP running, then he's definitely the best rookie in my opinion. And he does a lot for my team. runs the ship, and he can score, he can facilitate, and he plays defense, which is what I like. And it's funny, he gonna kill me when he hears this because I say it all the time. I'm like, yo, you and George are practically the same player. He's like, don't disrespect me because he's he competitive. He gonna compete with whatever other guard there is, but you and him play so similar to me. Like y'all both like to pick up 94 feet. Both y'all actually take pride in defense. It ain't just like, oh, I'm gonna outscore this man. It's like, nah, he's not getting buckets on me. And y'all both actually, I think from the way y'all play style is, y'all both are more like pass first than score first, and y'all don't do a lot of wasted dribbles. It's you make your move. If it's there, you take your shot. If it's not, you hit the open man. And that's I think that's a big reason why my team has been so successful because we don't got a lot of like the ball sticking in people's hands too much. So um, it
Yeah, it's
is what
hard.
it
It's
is
hard.
there.
It's hard for me to give. Like usually when you think of DPOY, you usually think about big man first, but I could definitely see Renzo being in that conversation. I mean,
Yeah,
he hands down got the Rookie of the Year award to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think it's close there. Um, so my closing thoughts, I'm just gonna say, let's look forward to some really good games tonight. So you heard it from me. I said I got Bad Boys making the playoffs. George got Pirates making the playoffs. Darius, who you got?
I got Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. We got anything else we want to say in closing, fellas?
Now both of y'all. Well, I know you are, Brandon. Both of y'all locked for playoffs, right?
George's team. I want to say the Crusaders are locked. I think the scenario they're locked because they have like they swept the Pirates. I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
locked them in. So
Yeah.
they're locked. They're just they have an opportunity to move up from they could either fall to fourth or move up to second. So
So just when we was talking about kind of like what Bad Boys was lacking as far as in takings, like contributing, I ain't gonna have y'all put your teammates on the spot, but just before we sign off, going into the playoffs, what do y'all, how do y'all feel like individually? What y'all feel like y'all gotta do to like make that chip run? Like what do y'all feel like y'all gotta lock in and do, or what do you feel like I gotta focus on this part of my game to really make sure my team is elevated to where they're supposed to be at?
So for my team, I think this one's really easy. We basically, for the most part, keep doing what we're doing. But I feel like the crazy part is we haven't even like reached our peak because there's so many games like, guys have said it like Tay is kind of like chilling.
Mm-hmm.
He's chilling like, and it's not even that he's chilling in a way where he's not contributing. It's just that we haven't needed him to score 25 points for us to win. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine we get a game where we actually have him scoring 25, Renzo scoring 25, Leak scoring 25. Like, we're winning with our defense where the high score against us might be like 60 points this whole season. So we gonna put if we get like 15 points from three guys, that's 45 points right there. And then me and
Uh,
Emil can get the little in between. So basically, I think the biggest thing for our team, like I said, is to keep doing what we're doing, and then to kind of even maximize Tay a little bit more. Because we
yeah,
unlock
for
Tay,
sure,
then I think it's curtains for everybody.
for sure, for sure. I got the same feeling as far as just like unlocking Tay a little bit, letting him you know do what he do on the perimeter and try to score. He keeps trying to get the dunk meter down, so hopefully we got some highlights in the playoffs. Drop
Oh
to the
yeah,
best.
oh yeah, they coming. um, and George,
Hit shots.
Good shots.
That's
Yeah.
it.
that's a big one.
Name of the
That's a
name
big
of the game. Put the ball in the
yeah,
bucket.
yeah. Especially on this 2K. That's a big one. You hit the shots, got a good chance of winning. Uh, with that, I think we're gonna be out, y'all. And there's another episode of MMA Pod coming. Stay tuned. We're gonna have some commentary on the Bad Boys versus the Pirates with the marquee matchup. However, it was spelled because it was spelled four different ways in the chat, but it's the marquee matchup of the week. Looking forward to that. And with that, we out.
All right.